There's so much money being sent to the Gambia for construction. This is an industry that could be utilized to solve our problems in-house. When I came down, I wanted to cry after seeing how people were building people's homes in this country.
Right now, Gambia's construction industry is booming. Gambians, both in abroad and home, spend millions of dollars annually in construction and renovation. The industry is making lots of people rich. This guy right here is one of them. This is Mohammed Njai, the CEO and founder of M&T Gloabal Construction. Mohammed was born and raised in the Gambia, but after his first year in high school, his family migrated to the US. So he completed his high school in Springbrook High School in the US. Over the years, he has worked in different industries and different companies like Boston Market, Blockbuster, IBM, the US Marine. He said in the US, no matter how competent and qualified you are, if you are an immigrant or you are black, it's very difficult to get promotion or climb the corporate ladder. That's why he kept moving from one company to another. And in the end, he was so frustrated that he decided to start his own thing. So he started a cleaning company. With the help of his father, they'll go to people's homes, clean their bathrooms, clean their carpets and things like that. And business was good. They were getting clients left, right, center. And after a while, people were requesting for painting jobs. And since he's a creative guy that loves working with his hands, he said yes and started doing painting jobs. From painting to fixing doors to tiling, he basically became a full-fledged handyman. And he was so good at it that one of his clients recommended him to a real estate company that flipped homes. He became their home improvement and renovation guy. What that company does is buy old and devalued houses, rehabilitate and sell them. These homes sell out from $300,000 to $1 million. Business was going so well that they were about to give him a contract worth $1.6 million. And this is where everything went wrong. When Trump came into power, Mohammed and 44 other Gambians were deported back to Gambia. Now he has to start in Gambia all over again. But this time, he's not starting from scratch. He came back to Gambia with over 13 years experience in the construction and home improvement industry. And everything that he was doing in the United States, he was about to do it bigger. But in the Gambia.
Upon being sent back to the Gambia, 45 of us came together, myself and 45 other Gambians were returned to the Gambia. It's a very well-known case in the country. It brought the diaspora on their heels, and they was after the government for that issue. Then from there, I decided to register the business and establish it in the Gambia, because we believe that the help of God is everywhere, whether it's the Gambia or the United States. So also being the fact that many Gambians in the United States knew about my work and the quality of my work, immediately I started having phone calls from Germany, from Sweden, from Norway, from UK, before even the registration process was completed. So throughout the diaspora, it was a big explosion where people would just call us randomly.
But why do you think that all of a sudden all these Gambians in abroad were reaching out to you?
Well, one of the reasons they was reaching out was because, again, the lack of regulation and also the poor workmanship and the quality of work that was happening in their projects and in their homes. Because when I came down, I wanted to cry after seeing how people were building people's homes in this country. Example, in the United States, most of these people you see building these $4 or $5 million homes. $5 million is over $100,000. People don't have those kind of salaries in the United States. These are people working 9 to 5, working 2-3 jobs, and saving their money from 5 to 10 to 15 years, and then send this money to build homes in the Gambia. So when they send this money, they send it with trust. And most of these contractors would send them pictures of things they've built, but when the time comes to deliver, they cannot deliver anything like that. So a lot of Gambians were disappointed that $100,000 of their money was going into waste. So upon coming into the Gambia is a very close-knit society. A lot of people were talking amongst each other, mentioning that Mohammed Njai of M&T is here. The talk was going around from different individuals that would call and sympathize with me being returned return to the Gambia, but they would also offer me to do their project or finish their project. And also, by the standards of what we was delivering, and also by the quality of what we was giving, immediately it was like a rupture. People was calling left and right. It got to a point I could not even handle the amount of phone calls that I was receiving with regards to projects. So again, we turned down some projects, not because we wanted to turn them down, but because it's the right thing to do. We don't want to disappoint people. We don't want to start a company that is disappointing clients. So the clients that came to us, we took our time, we have our hurdles, but yet we delivered their project according to the terms of agreement.
A lesson to learn here. When you're so good at something, obviously people will come to you. But if you don't have the capacity, you need to be strategic like Mohammed here. If not, you'll ruin your reputation.
From the first year, after taking 3 projects and getting them completed, the second year coming, we had a set goal that we was going to grow in increments. So we took 10 projects for the second year, and those 10 projects we was able to complete and do. And our initial goal was actually 15 to 20 projects, but due to the difficulties within the work industry in the Gambia, we scaled it down to 10 to just make sure that we are meeting our clients' needs rather than just taking in cash and taking in projects. And Gambia is a small country. You don't want to quickly ruin your reputation, and everybody is watching to see what you could do or what you would do. So we have to always strategically move the company from one year to another year. So the third year of construction, we are at over 15 now, going into 20 projects for the third year of construction. And when we say projects, is a multiple portfolio. We have new construction, we have remodeling, we have also people that call us just to finish their projects from issues that they had with other contractors. So in our project portfolio right now, we're standing at about 20 projects. We have contractors that do contact us for advice at time to time, and we have, example, different companies in the Gambia that do request if we could finish for them on their projects. So M&T, since coming back, is flourishing in the Gambia.
For someone who has been in the US for over 25 years and so used to the US style of constructing, and all of a sudden, boom, back to Gambia. I'm sure in the beginning he faced lots of challenges, because no matter how well equipped and professional you are, you have to learn and know how to do things the Gambian way, because whether you like it or not, there's a Gambian way of doing things.
Moving from the United States to the Gambia, when it comes to construction, we found it very difficult in many aspects. One, the standard of construction in the United States, everything is structured. In the Gambia, nothing is structured. Meaning, even if you go to purchase your building materials, you could walk into one building's department, a store, Home Depot, Lowe's, and in less than 20 minutes, you could purchase all the materials you need and deliver it to the site. In the Gambia, if you want to purchase materials, you could spend 3-4 days looking for one item. And this, it takes away from the time, and it takes away from the standard of work that you have to deliver. In the US, almost all the people that a contractor would hire have previous experience, and they've worked under contractors, and they know the expectations, and they know the deadlines. So unlike that, in the Gambia, everybody claims to be a plumber, everybody claims to be an electrician, everybody claims to be a contractor. So by the time you hire and you are working with them, you end up finding out their defects in the work process. So it ends up affecting the quality of your work. So when it comes to quality, some of the issues we find is the product. Very poor products in the Gambia. The workmanship most of the time is not up to par. So we have to reorient all our workers, whether it's plumber, whether it's electrician, whether it's tiler, we have to reorient them to the standards of the US and the UK. And most of them, I don't fault them or blame them, because they've never traveled outside of the Gambia, and you cannot expect them to deliver what they have never seen. So this is where M&T became it became our niche. because I have the experience, I have the know-how, because I was doing plumbing, electric, painting, drywall, roof, everything from a building start to finish, I was doing on my own. So because of that, I was able to orient my workers to start working on better finishes and higher standards of finishes. So due to that, when you walk into any home that M&T does, it's like different night and day according to what's in the Gambia. Right now, we could say there is other people finishing with very good quality and very good standards in the Gambia, but we are amongst the best finishers in the Gambia when it comes to a home.
When you have this chance, it's really good to travel and see how other people are doing things, because it broadens your perspective. Because like Mohammed here, all the good things that you see outside, you'd want to replicate it.
One of our visions in setting up M&T Global Construction Group is in establishing it to be a construction firm. And from a firm, we have the intention and the vision that very soon in the Gambia, we are landlocked. So land is very scarce in the Gambia currently. A plot of land 20 by 20 could range from $400,000 to $2 million. So because of that, very soon everything in the Gambia is going to have to be built to go up. And you could start seeing that already on the highway, going up and down from turntable to traffic light. Everything is going up. And M&T, very soon, we would be one of the companies that would be taking buildings from 5 floors all the way to 12, 14 to 20 floors in the Gambia. But along that case, we also found issues in the nation with regards to contractors, construction, and the government of the Gambia. One of the issues is we believe the government should be here for its people. There's nothing wrong with allowing foreign entities to be in any nation to develop the nation. Whatever it takes to develop a nation, we are for it. Expertise is imported throughout the world. But when that expertise is imported, we make sure that 80% of that project is benefiting the nation and the nationals of that nation. So we are encouraging the Gambia government to look into practices of how they could take, example, a lead major contractor like TAF or like Construct Limited and contract projects directly to them, and they oversight the projects along with other local contractors that are on the ground, because this would allow the local contractors to grow in capacity. It would allow them to grow in materials. It would allow them to grow in equipment and logistics, because this is where the shortfall is for most Gambian contractors. We are short of equipment. We are short of materials that we need to take the building to the next level. Another thing that I noticed that foreign governments do to help their nationals is they would set up what they call material shops, where they would encourage their local nationals to go, example, to Egypt, example to Turkey, example to Dubai, and purchase materials on the behalf of the Gambia government and allow the youth of this country to sell those materials back to the contractors. That way, Gambian nationals are also in the market of selling building materials, because even in the building materials sector is dominated by foreign nationals to a point the Gambians find it difficult to grow their business. So the government need to support them by giving them financial support and by giving them structures and systems that they could monitor these investments, and these investments should bring returns, and it would allow Gambian tycoons to grow in the building material. It would allow Gambian tycoons to grow in the Gambian construction arena. It would allow Gambian tycoons to grow in the real estate side of the business, because when you say construction, it's very vast. Real estate is part of it. Buying and selling of materials is part of it. Development of equipment is part of it. Tools is part of it. Maintenance of tools is part of it. There's a lot of sectors that, if properly utilized, could create employment very rapidly. The fastest growing thing in the Gambia outside of agriculture is construction. Everywhere you turn, buildings are going up. So the Gambia government need to tap into this industry and utilize these resources to create employment willfully and to create employment forcefully so that the youths could be employed in the many sectors of construction.
We all have seen or heard countless cases of contractors collecting payment and not delivering the work according to plan. One thing I like about how Mohammed is doing things is that instead of asking for like half of the payment or 1/3 of the payment, at M&T they have like an 8-payment structure plan where the client only pays up to the foundation level, and when they are satisfied, they pay again up to the elevation level, and that's how they do it here from start to finish. Everything is structured. I honestly love seeing well-built homes, and I'd like to know, how do we improve the construction and building standards in the Gambia?
You've touched on a very good point, which is improving building standards and improving the quality of building. The first thing I would say 3 times: regulations, regulations, regulations. Without regulations, anybody and everybody could do whatever they want, which is what is happening in the Gambia. I have people that I've employed in less than 6 months. After them watching how I'm working, they got up from under me and called themselves a contractor. And immediately they are taking projects. Some of them have portfolios of up to 3 to 5 projects. Some very soon would have more projects than even me, the qualified contractor. And why? Because there's no regulations. In the United States, example for me, before I was able to get my building construction license, I had to be under a licensed contractor for at least 5 years. Some areas require 7 to 10 years. So with that approval from the taxes I've paid to the government and from the licensed contractor, I was given a signature through him certifying that I am capable of doing this work on my own. And then the government also gave me a test that I had to take. And from taking this test, there is a very high threshold that you must pass this test the first time you take it, or you'd have to go for a long period before coming back to take it again. So you see, even in the United States, to be a contractor is a regulated process. Then once you are a contractor, even when you start building from the foundation, once you've dig your foundation, you cannot go to the next stage of construction without the government sending in an agent to validate that everything that you said on the ground has happened. Everything that's on the plan, engineering-wise, the foundation-wise, the depth, the levels, everything has to be confirmed before the contractor is giving permit or permission to get to the next stage, which is the elevation part. So from the elevation, when you start building the home, when you erect your walls, before even doing any plumbing or electric, the government would come back again for a second inspection, and they would make sure all your walls, all the joints, all the bolts, all the screws, everything that you've put in is according to construction standards. And if anything is not, they will send you a notification to rectify it. If it's not rectified, you cannot move to the next stage of construction. And in that place alone, they utilize that to create employment also. Because now, if you have 1,000 homes, you need almost 400 regulators to go visit these 1,000 homes every week. So the entire building is regulated from start to finish in every single project in the United States. If you go on and build the entire building without a regulator inspecting, without the government inspecting, without the government stamping or approving, the whole building would be demolished and you, the contractor, would be fined. If you are fined and you don't address these fines, you would be jailed. Wow. And if you are jailed, your license would be revoked. And if your license is revoked, it's revoked sometimes for 5 or 10 years. So a lot of people would do everything to retain their contractor status. And nobody cannot just wake up, become a contractor in the United States. So why is it in the Gambia, a mason could wake up and become a contractor overnight? A laborer could wake up the next day and start building buildings. And nobody licensed him, nobody educated him, nobody verified him. If today there is proper structures in the Gambia government, 20% of the youth that is on employment, 20% I guarantee could be employed just by the construction industry of the Gambia. And this could be done within the next 2 to 3 years. We could employ 20% of the youth. And the other issue why unemployment is not very favorable for the youth in the construction industry, the lack of regulation also brought about poor pay scales. And that poor pay scales is why a lot of youth are not motivated to enter into the construction industry. A lot of youth in the Gambia, it's not that they don't want to be employed. They are discouraged because when you wake up, you work 7 days a week, and you, by the end of the week, you are going home with about $250 a day. So you end up with about $1,500. And right now, $1,500 cannot get you much in this country, let alone take care of your family, let alone get you married, let alone help you with medical issues, let alone help you get your education going. So, and in the United States, the construction industry is one of the highest paid industries. Today, a licensed plumber makes more money than somebody with a PhD in the United States. Why is that? Because by the hourly rate of a licensed plumber is $400 to $500 an hour. Average 3-bedroom bungalow in the Gambia run from $3.5 to $4 million. Average 3 to 4-bedroom 1-story building home run from $4 million to $6 million, depending on the size of the home and what's there. So houses range anywhere from $4 million all the way to some homes 18, 19 million a home. So what Gambians are paying, they're paying very good money. Customers are paying very good money to get very beautiful homes built. But without the regulation, we have poor buildings, and then also the people in the industry are not being properly paid.
So who ends up with all the money?
Well, who ends up with all the money in the Gambia? Most of the money ends up in the pockets of the contractor. So this is a place that I see. In the United States, for me, a contractor could be building 4, 5, 6 years before they could afford to build their own home. Sometimes 10 years. This is the only place that I see a contractor start and go from a masoner to a contractor, and in less than 1 to 2 years, they've built a multi-million-dollar home. Why? Because they've cut the laborers short, and they've cut the building materials short, and they are stealing from both sides. And from here, that gluttony system that they have, all the money is coming back to them, and the building ends up with a poor quality, and the workers are frustrated. So both of these things is like a disaster in the construction industry of the Gambia due to lack of regulation. So if the proper regulations was in place, the youth would be properly employed, because today, if you could come out as a laborer and make $500, in 5 days, you've made $2,500. That's more than what some people are making in a salary-based employment. So by the end of the month, as a laborer, you've made $10,000. And if you work extra days, you've made up to about $12,000 to $14,000. And from this, it would allow them to have survival. It would be worth it for the youth to come into it. But this has to be regulated. And this regulation require the government to set up boards that will sit down and look at the entire construction industry. Look at it from the construction side, look at it from the financial side, look at it from the building materials aspect, look at it from the employment aspect, and look at it from the client aspect. When all these 5 areas have been looked at, methods and strategies should be brought about that would allow for everybody to get what they need, whether it's the client, whether it's the contractor, whether it's the layman, or whether it's the plumber, whether it's the electrician. Everybody should be able to get what they need. And I say this example, in M&T, those 3 projects that we took, from those 3 projects, in the administration, we hired up to 5 people. And outside of the administration, we employ licensed specialists, whether it's plumbers and electricians, at least about 10 of them. And those 10 that we employed had about 15 to 20 staff members around them. So directly, we employed about 15 people. Indirectly, in those 3 projects, we created employment for over 25 to 30 people. So on the second to third year, right now, we are directly employing 20 people, people. Indirectly, we are employing about 40 to 60 people. So that is from me just regulating how M&T operates. So if that is translated into the government, and if it's translated into every contractor, very soon we would be employing in masses, because buildings are being built across the nation. So why don't we utilize a structure to make sure employment is being created every day? With structure, we could create at least minimum 1,000 new jobs a day in the construction industry. And this is doable. And this is what we want the Gambia. So M&T is pushing itself to position itself to be an industry and a construction company that would grow and create employment. And we want to get to a point where we hire 1,000 people. When we get there, we want to show then that this is an industry that could be utilized to solve our problems in-house without looking for funding outside of the nation. Because there's so much money being sent to the Gambia for construction, and it needs to be regulated. And if it's regulated, we could solve our problems in-house. Just like when we have problems at home, we try to solve it without going to people looking for loans, looking for things. When we solve our problems in-house, then we could work on looking for loans to increase the capacity we've created. Then you are talking about a developing nation. But when you are looking for loans to hire people, you cannot develop a nation like that. You cannot go out of the Gambia, look for loans to create employment. You have to first create the employment, develop capacity, then you get out of the nation to look for loans to increase that capacity. So I think we are doing the wrong sums, and we need to reorient ourselves and look within us, and we need to create more collaborations with contractors. And that is one thing that M&T is looking to find partners with other contractors, and it's difficult in the Gambia because everybody wants to stand on their own. But we want to work with others. We want to work with Africa Gloabal. We want to work with Construct Limited. We want to work with the other local contractors. We are looking for a way of how to partnership, because again, one of the issues that foreign nationals are dominating the market, because when they enter with a full workforce. They are capable of administratively running major projects. They are capable of financially running major projects. They are capable of human resource of running major projects. But when we are divided, almost none of us cannot do that. So we have to come together and develop our capacity together. When major projects come for road construction, when major projects come for developing something like the OIC Center, Gambians have the skills, they have the know-how. We have very high trained engineers in the Gambia and outside of the Gambia. And when we come together, we could build the next OIC Center here. We could build the next Taj Mahal in the Gambia. We could build whatever structures are out there, Gambians could build in the Gambia.
It is doable, but first we have to believe in ourselves and start giving the right people the right jobs. Speaking about the right people, I'll leave a link to M&T Gloabal's contact details in the description box below. During our interview, Mr. Njai mentioned so many beneficial stuff that we couldn't fit all in one video, so we'll have to do a part 2 inshallah. Drop a comment below if you'd like to see a part 2. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. Of course, I'd appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel and like this video, but if there's one thing that I'd love more, it's for you to share this video. Peace.